Tell us a little bit about like that whole Viper being sold off story, I guess.
Yeah, I keep hearing that too, and I didn't know if, did you know that was a thing, that they were trying to branch it off on its own thing?
So what happened, Cerberus came in, and Cerberus was a financial company, right? And they buy and sell their investment group. And they are very good at buying a company and then dismantling the things that are not useful and selling them off, like most private equity is. They got to a point where they said, look, Viper's still an asset, but I'm not sure it's something that fits with the future. And they weren't really investing in new car programs. And so it was a little scary at that time to be a Chrysler guy or gal. I was in the M&A side of it, right? So I was doing a lot of the acquisitions, and I was doing a lot of the foreign country type work. So I was in touch with the Cerberus guys on a regular basis, and the guy who was leading it pulled me into his office and said, hey, I'm thinking about this. I said, well, I'd stop thinking about it. It's really what rallied this company back together again in the 80s. And it's kind of, how would you say, the mascot of Chrysler's can-do spirit, right? It was that I guess, intertwined with our DNA. They said, well, we think we can sell it. And I said, well, I wouldn't. And so I went away, and the next morning they called me in the office and said, we've come up with a plan, and you're going to be president and CEO, and you're going to be working with Lazard, the investment bank, to build the pro forma, to go on the road show and sell this thing. And so then I had to bring a bunch of people in as consultants, because like any car program, it's got shared resources. It doesn't have its own marketing. It doesn't have its own, quality group. It doesn't have its own purchasing. It didn't have the infrastructure. So you had to kind of create that to sell it. And the bigger issue on that one was whoever bought it would have had to go and immediately do a new frame for NCAP, offset crash, which would have been about at the time, $25-30 million for certification. So whoever bought it would have known that they would have had to buy it and then put that money in. I got to the point where we started the road show, and right at that point, we were hitting the skids. It was 2008, and during the time when the Germans were running the show, they had built as many Vipers as they could, and they had put them out into the dealerships. So we had an abundance of inventory, not a lot of sales. So they shut down production. Well, I don't know about you guys, but trying to sell a company that's producing nothing is a little, so the valuation we had up here continued to erode through that process. And then they pulled me out and made me go into another area in purchasing, and I ended up taking a $10 billion deck of buy, and that got handed off to another team. And eventually, I think we were hitting bankruptcy with our suppliers after bankruptcy. The economy was falling down. We had the large, mortgage failures, and everything fell apart, right, in '08. So I think it just kind of, that project just kind of was stillborn. It just went off into the distance. And finally, when they declared bankruptcy, Fiat came in, then they started to say, okay, let's resurrect this. Let's take what we got, let's build it back up, and that's when you ended up with the Gen 4.
Correct.
And then the Gen 5.
So how did the Gen 4 come to life? Were you a part of those conversations at all, or not?
I left in '08. I left Chrysler in '08.
Gotcha,
so that's when I started my development company, and that's when I met Shawn.
Gotcha.
Right
Okay.
So I left in '08, started HPP late '08, and we met in '09, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Prior to SEMA. I still have my business card that says President CEO Viper.
Yeah.
But that was a short period of my career. It was an interesting time. It was a scary time. I was glad that it didn't get sold.
Yeah.
Because I think Ralph Shields took it and took it to the next level and did some really cool things with the team. And I was glad to see it stayed. I was sad to see it die.
If you'd like to see more of this interview, be sure to head over to the main Monoxide channel. And if you'd like to see some more clips, be sure to hit subscribe, and see y'all next time.